It is 9:23. It's time for Deal or No Deal.
I signed for them after the Euros, and after my first day's training, I was driving home. I was actually thinking, regretting it. What have I done? Like I walked into a circus. It's amazing, isn't it?
Phil Egan has his metaphorical yellow tie on. Phil, good morning to you.
How are you doing, lads?
This is the final day. It's come upon us pretty quickly.
Yeah, under the radar, even though that's bizarre because there's been no Premier League games for the last week. So
there's nothing been,
there hasn't been too many big deals happening. Obviously, the one that happened over the weekend was Liverpool completed the Luis Diaz move, and the transfer window will slam shut. Isn't that the right terminology? At 11 o'clock.
It's 11 o'clock. I was going to ask,
Yeah, midnight for Scottish clubs.
Didn't they have a 5 o'clock cut off one year? I was like, what are you doing? What's the point of that?
Yeah. You got to get your primetime TV.
You've made up this thing and then you've made it bad. Mm-hmm. Like, make this made up thing go into the evening.
Like exactly. It's all at 9 o'clock when nobody is signing for Everton. That's when you really know that the pulse will start to quicken, and it's good that we're back to 11 o'clock. Yeah,
I remember even there was a stage where the Premier League had a different close to the rest of Europe, and that was just shambolic stuff.
Yeah, they weren't happy with that.
No, sure, it made a mockery of it all.
A mockery of the already slightly ridiculous thing. Let's just briefly talk about that Liverpool transfer. What difference does this make to the team? Straight into the side. Unusual for them to be doing business. It's not that unusual for them to be doing business, but this was one of those situations, again, a little bit like Jota, where no one knows anything about it, and boom, it's happened.
Yeah, and look, he is a player. We talked about him last week when he was being linked with the move to Tottenham, but he's continuously been linked with Liverpool, and you could see how he would fit into a 4-3-3 system. And it sounds like Liverpool just moved quickly because they realised Porto were willing to do a deal with Tottenham, and they liked the looks of the deal, and they thought, we can do this. And the player clearly wants to go to Liverpool ahead of Tottenham. Jurgen Klopp FaceTimes him, seals the deal, and that's the power of Jurgen Klopp at Liverpool right now, that if he wants a player, they're going to go and play for him.
Yeah, he's a happier character than Antonio Conte to play for, isn't he? Conte's FaceTime and you're like, okay, is there anybody else I could go? I mean, unless you actually want a little bit of tough love in your life.
Yeah, and at the moment, though, Liverpool are a far better team than Tottenham. So that whole argument about geographical location, where players want to come to London rather than go to the likes of Liverpool or Manchester, that when Liverpool are going so well at the moment, then he's obviously going to...
Well, the only thing about that is, will he play? They are going so well at the moment. So the follow-on from that is like, how do I get in this team?
Yeah, well, I'm pretty sure Luis Diaz is confident enough to think, yeah, I've played against Liverpool and I can see exactly how they play, where I'm going to play. It just gives Liverpool more options in attack, because obviously they've been short of them in January with the 3 players, were 2 attackers going to the Africa Cup of Nations. They're still there, obviously. Salah and Mane might even meet in the final. But Mane, as good as he's been for Liverpool, there's been a little drop off in maybe the amount of goals that he scored. He still forms a really good partnership down the left hand side with Andy Robertson, but there is definitely scope for Diaz to start there. But also it just gives Klopp another option, and he can play in other positions as well. So it's about adding strength and depth, because I know Divock Origi is a bit of a cult hero at Liverpool, but he is just not good enough in terms of when the likes of Salah and Mane are not on the team. The drop-off is too much, and that's what Liverpool are trying to do. They're trying to make sure that if their best players are out, that they have ready-made replacements to go in. Jota obviously fits into that category. Look how well he performed in January. The talk is that Origi and Minamino will leave. Don't know if it's going to happen today. Minamino has been linked with moves to Leeds and Monaco, but maybe he's thinking, I've got a League Cup to win. I got Liverpool to the final. It's time to finish this. Myself and Queeveen, we deserve our shot in the League Cup final. But Origi, I always felt Liverpool should have sold him after the Champions League success. That was the best price they were going to get from him.
Yeah.
But then, every so often, he comes off the bench against
his existence.
Yeah, against Wolves, scores that late goal, and you think, the guy is a cult hero for Liverpool.
And he gets his hug off Jurgen Klopp, and
Absolutely.
all feels well in his life again.
And Klopp basically says, I don't understand why he's still here. It's ridiculous. I never play him except for these moments. Anybody else would leave.
This guy has got an unbelievable capacity for torture.
Yeah. It's like, okay, I see what you're doing there, Jurgen.
Yeah, so Liverpool also, I mean, the talk is that they're going to try and get Fabio Carvalho deal done. This teenager from Fulham who played underage for England, born in Portugal, out of contract in the summer. So they could wait till then, but the talk is that they want to maybe get it done, but there's a bit of a stumbling block with the price, whereas Liverpool are saying to Fulham, well, you know, this guy is going to be available for free in the summer.
And I think they are sweetening the deal by offering him to stay with Fulham to the end of the year.
So obviously Fulham are going pretty well, and they're on course to get back to the Premier League to replace Watford and Norwich as the team that come back up and go back down. And
okay. Newcastle are still being linked with a slew of players, some of which are going to happen and some of which won't happen. So they've been linked with Target at Villa, who obviously has lost his place and probably won't get back in that team unless there's an injury, and didn't seem to have Stephen Gerrard's full trust anyway. They're being linked with Dean Henderson. Is this a possibility?
Possibly. I mean, like, is Dean Henderson that much better than Dubravka? Now, Dubravka a couple of years ago was in much better form, has had a few injuries and hasn't been as convincing as he was a couple of years ago, where I kind of thought to myself, he should be playing at a better club than Newcastle, but now he's playing for the richest club in the world. So Dean Henderson obviously stayed at United. Everyone thought, yeah, he's going to take over from De Gea, but then the more we saw of him, we realised De Gea is still better than him. And because Dean Henderson is English, he probably got talked up a bit more. Dean Henderson was quite, he's quite a confident lad as well. But I always think back to that game at Old Trafford with United and Liverpool, where Salah was running through and Dean Henderson stood at one side of the goal basically and said, there you go, Mo, if you just want to knock it into an empty net there. It was like he lost his bearings and just didn't know exactly what he was doing. But I think when you're at a club like Manchester United, the more you play, then obviously the spotlight is on you. And yeah, you could see that he's a good keeper, but I never thought he was good enough to be Manchester United's number one. Would he be the difference of Newcastle staying up? I don't think he would make that big a difference. I think they need to strengthen in other departments, and they're obviously being linked with a load of players. So
yeah, and they've got a few in since we last spoke. They now have a better midfield. They now have a better centre back. They're strengthening the spine of the team, right?
Yeah. It seems like goalkeeper is like the one area where they not only have a good starter, but they have depth as well. I mean, like, as far as substitute goalkeepers go, it's Carl Darlow who's on the bench at the moment, who was good when he was playing last season. Maybe that's the home for if people are, if the scouts and the agents who are pushing the story out there, maybe they know more than the rest of us know about the quality of the Dubravka. Maybe himself and Darlow actually aren't all that, and maybe that's your home for Queevy and Kelleher when he gets assigned to a club next season.
We don't want that now. But
have the Newcastle signings influenced where you think they're going to finish?
I still think they'll stay up.
Right.
Yeah. It looks like they're trying to get Dan Byrne signed, which actually should be good news for Shane Duffy. That takes Dan Byrne out of the Brighton team, and he's been in that
pretty cheap, like 10-15 million.
Yeah,
haggling over that price.
Yeah, and he's 29 as well. He spent a bit of time at Newcastle as a youth team player. He's a Newcastle fan, so he obviously wants to go back there. The Target deal looks like it's going to get done, and then maybe Lingard is another move that they're trying to get done. This is a day, like, Newcastle is the day when you need the fans beside the Sky reporter.
This is your Super Bowl, Newcastle fans.
Yeah, but it's obviously not happening now because someone ruined it by sticking something in somebody's ear.
A purple dildo, you can say it.
Okay.
Was there not like a bit of a? Was there not a few good years post purple dildo, or was purple dildo the final straw?
I'm not sure. I think COVID killed it, and they're
it was done before COVID.
Well done.
Was it?
COVID. Yeah, it was.
Oh, okay. I thought it.
Yeah.
They had. Right.
What they do now is to get into the training ground, isn't it?
Why do they care about it? Is that not like if you were a TV executive and Purple Dildo shows up, you're like, this is it. My work here is done.
Yeah.
This is going to go viral. That's 6 million views. People are going to be tuning into this for years to come.
It is one of the great David Squires sketches where the Sky Sports reporter goes to school, goes to college, takes a family photo with him graduating from journalism school, and then the final square is him getting a purple dildo shoved in his ear.
Donny van de Beek is going to show him. I don't know why that segue made everybody laugh, but it did. Donny van de Beek will join Everton on loan, but no buy option will be included in the deal, according to a number of sources. Will he shine for Lampard's toffees, or is there a reason why both Solskjaer and Rangnick have overlooked him?
Yeah, like we don't know how good Donny van de Beek is anymore because he doesn't play. And even though United put up on their socials there last month that congratulations to Donny van de Beek for reaching 50 appearances.
50 appearances.
But how many starts? Very few.
How many minutes? Like an average of 8-9 minutes over those 50 appearances?
It's a tough one because this is a guy that grew up at the Ajax Academy. What do Ajax base their game on? It's all about possession football. United haven't been as controlled in possession as an Ajax team would be. He's obviously been a bit part player, and
he'd have been as well to go back to Ajax in the hope that Ten Hag gets the gig.
Yeah.
Or whatever gig Ten Hag gets, he re-establishes himself as somebody who Ten Hag believes in and says, right, bring me with you.
And there was talk as well at Crystal Palace, and that probably would have been a better move for him as well because there's less pressure at Palace. Obviously, Conor Gallagher's in midfield there as well. Vieira, a quality midfielder in his day. So he could have learned plenty off him. Look, I'm sure he'd learn plenty off Frank Lampard, but it's going to be. I know Manchester United's a highly pressurised environment to be in, but Everton is going to be the same. Where they're only 4 points above the relegation zone. Lampard's taking on the role, and Everton need to start winning games. Whereas if he went to Crystal Palace, expectations aren't as high, and he'd probably enjoy it a bit more. He needs to start enjoying his football again because it's just been miserable for him.
We've got like less than a minute left for all of these. Ousmane Dembele, who's still only 24, is being heavily linked with a move to PSG, although there is some link with Manchester United that's still floating around. The PSG deal sounds like it's much further down the line according to what everybody's saying at the moment. Can he still be a player of importance on the global stage, or has the injury profile ruined him? Is he now Michael Owen, age 24 to 30? Is that what we should expect for Dembele, or can he still be somebody who is as good as we thought he could be?
I don't know if he was ever going to be as good as he was meant to be. He had that really good season at Dortmund, and all of a sudden Barca came in with ridiculous money, which is why Barca are in such a situation that they are now. And
okay, so you're not buying it?
I think he's going to be fine, and he'll have moments, and he hasn't. It doesn't look like he's lost that pace, but I think PSG will be fine for him, where he'll win titles and
maybe not have to play every minute, and could can help in
get
that
back into
environment.
the French squad as well.
Maybe.
Probably, yeah.
Aubameyang expect to take a massive pay cut to swap Arsenal for Barcelona if they can get Dembele off their books. So this is all part of the merry-go-round at the moment. How do you feel, Owen? Aubameyang and his silver Batmobile?
Be great, wouldn't it? That'd be a great piece of business by Arsenal if he was willing to take that pay cut, because we've seen not only with Arsenal but a number of clubs in the upper echelons of the Premier League just getting destroyed by these contracts.
Pay cuts don't really happen. They give him a certain amount of money and then Barcelona pick up as far as I know. Now, why would you take a pay cut? It's like,
but at least on another level, then it's just this being outside the dressing room at this point, not having that cloud hanging over the club. Mikel Arteta will be asked less about it. It will be better if Aubameyang was still scoring goals at the rate he was a couple of seasons ago. Like 22 goals in back-to-back Premier League seasons was a very good return. He was a good signing, and it just ended desperately badly.
Basically, as soon as he dotted the I's and crossed the T's in his new contract,
he went off a cliff.
It was unbelievable.
I mean, he must have been getting paid very well before that, though. So it's not like it's the first time he's ever had money or anything.
No.
Right, last one. Christian Eriksen's a Brentford player. That's a done deal. Is there a world where he can make a big impact, Phil?
Yeah, I mean, look, I hope it goes well for him. Obviously, the Danish connections with Brentford, and they do have a lot of importance on set pieces. So Eriksen should be a good addition to them. And if you told me 7 months ago that he'd be back playing in the Premier League, I wouldn't have believed you. So it is great news to see him back, and it's a nice start of the day anyway, because one of the first deals announced. And actually, it didn't even need to be done today because he's a free agent anyway. Yeah,
but the miracle of modern science is something we should all be very grateful for. That's today's Deal or No Deal.